all the work we've put in was towards this moment. Bar is needed. Well, it's official. We survived our first week. Welcome to week 2 in our workshop. There's quite a lot to do and it's time for a to-do list. Right, so the first thing on the to-do list is to finish the table saw bench. After that, I want to finish our casting benches, finish leveling them and fix them to the floor and to each other. I do need to organize because the workshop is a mess. I do need to fix a few of the tools in place, and last week we lost our metal chop saw. It just died, so before I buy a new one I will try to fix it. We need to make an A-frame which I'll be using to store our sheet material. It's easier to move around. We also need to make a vibrating table, and hopefully by that point the workshop will be ready for us to start casting. We need to do new samples and start casting sinks and working on orders. Low on the to-do list is our office. This will be done whenever we have time. I really want to make a desk for myself. I already have an idea, but it will be for another video. I also need a chair. Now, the plan for the table saw is to extend the work area so that I can cut up to 1.2, 1.3 meters. My plan is to cut a piece of the sheet metal and create a metal frame underneath and extend the guide. Now, for our casting benches, I didn't have time to explain it last week, but we made them level and square. When we put them in place, because the floor is uneven and unlevel, they were all over the place. So what we've been doing and what I'm going to continue to do this week is to level them to create a nice flat surface between them, then fix them off the floor. Each is unique, and create a nice flat area where we can work on and rely that we'll get perfect results every time. Now, we've made 4 casting benches. Each is 2 meters long and 1 meter wide, creating an overall casting area of 8 square meters. The great thing about making the table saw bench out of metal is that it also doubles up as a casting bench. Now, I also want to say thank you to everyone. We received very positive feedback from our first video in the workshop. I know that it wasn't perfect, and to some extent you couldn't really understand what was happening. There was a lot that had to be done in a short amount of time, so I didn't really have time to explain, go into detail, but moving forward I will do better and explain as much as possible and show you as much as possible. Now, the plan for these videos is to be as real as possible, and I really appreciate all the feedback that we received. It's been very helpful. One of the things that I was told is that I shouldn't drink coffee on camera, and it's tea. I drink tea, it's not coffee. No, actually it's... I went ahead and cleared up the area around the table saw, so I have space to work. I've moved the dust extractor just to make sure I don't damage it. I've measured the size for the extension of the table, and now I'm marking where I need to cut. The table saw extension table on the right side is finished. It's nice and level with the table saw. It's stable. The next task is to extend the guide. This is what we want to see. The bubble is right in the middle. Nice and level. Now I've cut the extension guide and decided to check how it would fit, and I think it worked out pretty well. The plan to fix it to the existing one is to use this channel. I would probably use an angle line, drill some holes, and use this type of bolt to fix it in place. Which I think would work great because the angle line would allow me to weld to the subframe. Now here's how it's gonna work in theory. You have the bolt locking in. A first issue that I'm having is that the bolts that I want to use are a little bit longer, which is not an issue. I can mark their position and drill through the guide so that the bolt can go through and lock the angle line in place. But I've got a bolt right here that is stopping me. So I think that we'll have to cut the angle line. Once I mark the position, cut a notch so that the bolt can go around. After some trial and error, the guide is in place. It has two locking bolts on each side. I've put a reinforcement plate and also a piece that runs all the way through the channel, and that guarantees that it's perfectly aligned. And also I've made sure that it's a nice continuous straight line. So the table saw bench is officially complete. So I'll go ahead and cross it off the list. Now the next thing on the list are the casting benches. I need to level and fix the last two. But since I'm alone today, I think it makes more sense to work on the things that I can do on my own. So I will make the A-frame, then I'll organize, because somewhere in the boxes are the parts for the vibrating table, and hopefully I'll be able to make that as well, the vibrating table. If there's any time left, I'll keep organizing, and if there's even more time at the end of the day, I'll try to do the benches on my own. And we have a new A-frame. It's all done, pretty happy with it. It's the biggest A-frame we've had so far. It's 12 at noon, So I'm finishing up right on time. I need to jump on a couple of Zoom calls, and as soon as I'm done, we keep going. So the idea for the vibrating table is for it to double up as additional workspace on the bench for the table saw. Here's how it's gonna work. We have the table saw bench. So this is our max level. I wanna be 2 millimeters lower. We'll have a metal sheet, a steel frame, then rubber dampeners, then another metal frame, and underneath we'll have casters. That is the idea behind the vibrating table. The table itself will have a top frame. The motor will be attached to it. I want to put a current regulator, and then you have the plug. So we just need to make it. Now the first thing I need to do is figure out the height of the bench. This will not be easy because the floor is uneven, so I will take the dimension for the highest, for the part where the floor is the highest, or the lowest height of the bench. Okay, so the bench height varies between 880 and 890 millimeters, and it's only because the floor is really uneven. We know for sure that the bench is nice and flat is we were building it with a laser level, and then we checked everything with a spirit level. So the height of the vibrating table is going to be 880 millimeters. Now the only dimension that I'm missing is the thickness of the rubber dampeners that I put between the top frame of the vibrating table and the main frame. Right here. So I guess it's time to start organizing and find the rubber dampeners. Alright, I did organize some of our tools and I found what I was looking for. Here are the rubber bushings that will stay between the main frame and the top frame of the vibrating table. And I also found the bigger vibrating motor. I've also got a smaller one for a small vibrating table, but that is going to be a project for another time. I measured these and they're 25 millimeters, so now we have the height for the main frame for the vibrating table. Let's get to work. Alright, so the main frame for the vibrating table is complete. We have the wheels on and the rubber dampeners on. Here's the top part of the main frame, and
The rubber bushings or dampeners are attached to the main frame. There's the rubber, and on top of that we'll put the top frame, and the vibrating motor will be attached to it. It's very simple and yet hard to achieve. And with that, all the welding for the vibrating table is done. What is left is for me to cut the base plates where the vibrating motor will be attached to, and the top plate. You may have noticed that I've changed my mind on the design. The vibrating table is lower than the workbench for the table saw, because I thought it's better to have it at a good height for the casting benches, and I can always use some pieces to build up the height whenever I need it to help me on the workbench. I hope it works out. If it doesn't, I'll just change it. Wow, so I'm done with the vibrating table. The only thing left is the casting plate, but that can be done at any time. It just needs to be cut and screwed in place. The only thing left right now is to test if it works. So you can regulate the vibration. I think that's it for today. I'll clear up. I might stay and move some things around, but tomorrow we're gonna pick up from where we left it. We'll do the casting plate for the vibrating table. We still need to level and fix the casting benches, more organizing, do a final clear up, and like find a place for everything. We do need to figure out how to fix the chop saw and find a good place for all of our sink molds besides the casting benches, so that Wednesday we can start casting. Tuesday morning, we keep going. So we've been working on the benches, they're almost done. They're all completely leveled. We fixed them to the floor and now we're working on fixing them to each other. An angle line at the front, flat bars and more angle line at the back to make sure that the benches are stable, it can take the weight that's needed. Now on the inside, we're fixing the benches to each other with a flat bar at the front and at the back. We probably need another 15 minutes and all the benches will be ready. And with that, our casting benches are done. So we're ready to cross it off the list. Check out our new miter saw station. all the work we've put in was towards this moment, and today finally we get to do what we're best at. I honestly cannot believe that last week, Monday, this was an empty space, and only 10 days later, we have a fully fledged, ready to work workshop. We have our casting benches, we have our new table saw set up, we have the miter saw station. Yes, the workshop is a mess, but it's easy to clean up and organize. So let me show you around and what I need to do. Plan for today is to get all of our molds, reusable molds, cleaned and ready for casting, and do the first batches in the new workshop. For that, I will have to organize the casting area. I have an idea what I need to do, but I guess we'll figure it out along the way. Now, yesterday we spent half the day securing the workshop. Tool theft and break-ins are a real issue for any business, and we did spend half the day securing a portion of the workshop you haven't seen yet. This is now done. We've also spent some time on making sure our tools in the workshop are also secure. The tools that will stay out are fixed in place, and everything like handheld power tools will be locked away in different locations in the workshop. I'd love to show you, but I hope you understand it's best if I don't. There's not much else to say, but it's time to go. And with that, all of our silicone molds are ready for casting. I've prepared them and cleaned them. This time I cleaned them with acetone. It's a good option to use for deep cleaning. I don't recommend using it for everyday use. Usually in our day-to-day, I use release agent. It is enough to clean and maintain the silicone, but when they haven't been used for a long time and there's some deep staining, every now and then, every few months, I tend to use acetone. Again, I don't recommend it. Before you try it on your own molds, it's good to check with the technical data sheet of the silicone you're using, or if you don't have access to it, it's best to test on a small area on the outside of the mold just to make sure you don't destroy it. The next thing that needs to be done is to prepare the casting area. As soon as I'm done, we start casting. And our casting area is somewhat complete. Obviously, it's a temporary setup, but it's great for a trial run. Let me show you. Over here we have our reinforcement, our pigment cabinet, we got sand and cement, our special additive lime. Over the years we found and we've developed our formula around using lime, just like the Romans, and our reinforcement fibers. We got our trusty mixers. My favorite brand is Eibenstock. They're amazing. Let's start casting. The first thing I did before start casting is to cut the basalt reinforcement mesh. All of our basins receive a layer of this basalt reinforcement mesh. It adds to the structural stability of the basin. Yes, the concrete is strong enough on its own, but this adds to the strength I think it's the best practice, even though it adds to the cost of manufacturing. The basins that will be installed on mounting brackets additionally receive a basalt reinforcement bar. Now you just saw me cast these two basins and maybe wondering or even laughing when I was trying to get the last drops of concrete to finish our onyx. And the reason is very simple. We're doing everything possible to minimize our waste and only mix the material that we need for the job. Oh, hi there. You may be wondering what I'm doing. Well, I'm doing some documentation, making sure that all of the things that I've cast today are properly documented. We keep track of the batches that we mix with the colors so that each basin can be tracked down to the batch when it was cast, to the day, and that it met the quality control. And with that, all the casting for today is done. Now, I have a few more things to cast, but you will see that in another video. Now, I did cast a few more basins, side quest of sorts, but you'll see the video after this one. Or you've seen it already. Now, the last thing to do for the basins is to cover them with a plastic sheet to ensure that the moisture stays in as they're curing. And depending on the temperature in the workshop that I'm gonna measure in about 15 minutes, we might also cover them with a blanket. No, we're not in a dungeon, and you've probably noticed you can't see anything because there's no light in here. This is why I got this and this, some of this, and I was told I should use this to try and fix that. And just like that, it's already Thursday. This morning I went on a bit of a supply run. I got new shelves, a few small bits and pieces I need for the workshop. But there's something I need to tell you. Yesterday you saw me install a light in our new storage room. And after that I thought I would clean up a little bit. Things got out of hand and I kind of stayed late, and basically everything is ready. Let me show you. The workshop is fully set up, all the tools are packed away, there's no more mess. I even got a bin for offcuts. It's nice and clean in this area, there's no more mess. Now for today, towards the end of the day, I will open the first basins that we cast yesterday. I do need to cast new samples. That's actually really exciting. This morning on the supply run, I found these amazing pigments. So we get to make brand new samples. I also want to assemble these shelves, find a place for them. Now they have lower capacity, but I'm pretty sure we can reinforce them. And I also, last night I was thinking, once I cleared up, we have a lot of space. So, and I have leftover from the sheet material. So I want to make another bench, another working station. We do need a dustpan. And whatever else I come up with today. Now, how much easier was this? Assembling the shelves took 5 minutes each, and in 10 minutes I reinforced them. They're nice and strong, stable, connected to each other, back plates and a side plate. It's not going anywhere. I think initially, out of the box, they were rated at 30 kg per shelf. I'm pretty sure we already doubled it, but if we need it, I can always add more supports and triple or quadruple it. So, next thing on the list. And with that, the new work table is complete. I didn't really have a plan for it. I didn't have any drawings. I was just going with the flow and figuring things out as I was going. It's not the best way to build something like that, but it's definitely the most fun. And it's complete. The idea is that it's going to be lightweight. I can move it around on my own. It's sturdy. And there's only one thing left. I hope the welds hold. And now I will use this new workbench to make our new dustpan. Super bespoke. For the pan, I will only be using scraps. What is it? 8 seconds later and it's already done. Not only does it work great, but it's nice and heavy, so you can exercise with it. It does look like it's been through a lot, kinda crooked, but still soldering on, so I think it's only befitting to have a name. If you have an idea, put it in the comment section. Kinda going for dusty, but I'll see what you guys think. The next thing on the list is opening the sink and then casting color samples with the new pigments I got. But I've checked, I'd rather leave the sinks for the end of the day. Now the new table came with this guide. It's lightweight, it's made out of aluminium. It's lightweight and it's made out of spacecraft material. I like it, but I'd rather have something sturdier. And I've got a solution. Now you might remember last week when I got into the unit, I found all kinds of guides and accessories for table saws. I went through them and I found those 3 fence guides. They're really sturdy, nice and heavy, and I would love to use those. But there's a small problem. The problem is that they simply don't fit. Now I can try and change the rail, but I spent so much time making the extension that I'd rather not. So what I'm thinking is I'll try and cut a larger groove, and I hope that I do a good job and it fits properly. Some of you may know, but cutting cast iron is not the easiest thing in the world. The good thing is that I got 3 attempts because they're 3 identical guides. You've missed all the fun. I thought I was filming, but I guess I wasn't. I've managed to cut the groove wider when I put it on the table, so I realized I need to take off some of that height. So I did that, but then I had an issue because my cut wasn't perfectly level. And what saved me is myself, because I love buying tools and new gadgets, even though I don't necessarily need them. But in this case, I bought these metal polishing discs. I've never used them before, but they have a nice square edge. I mean, they had a nice square edge. So this is what helped me to essentially mill the groove to a perfection. The best thing is that the piece that I cut off will actually go on the guide as well as a spacer. Fits like this and gives me clearance so it can fit on the table. So I went ahead also to clean all of the surface rust. So I've tested it, the guide is perfect. The table saw basically doesn't need any calibration. And yeah, can just go ahead and paint it. Side quest complete. Here we go. All the things are open and all the samples, everything looks amazing. Here we are. They do sit a little bit in the dark, but I thought that those shelves would be amazing to be used as a curing station. So the sinks were cast 24 hours ago. I'll keep them here for 24 hours before I flatten the bottoms, grind the bottoms, polish them, and then start sealing. And once they're done, depending on how many orders we have, I may have to get some more of those shelving units so that we have 2 shelves for curing, 2 shelves for pre-sealing, and 2 shelves that are ready. The basins on those last 2 shelves would be the ones that are ready to be packed. So all in all, yesterday's cast was a great success. The sinks look amazing, even though we have sourced new materials. If I have to be honest, I think that the sand, cement, and the lime that we're able to source here are of higher quality. So those things are likely to be some of the best ones we've ever produced, and moving forward, obviously, this is only going to improve, but I'm really happy. 24 hours, they're extremely strong and hard, like there's no chip corners or anything. They look amazing. Now, next thing is I need to cast the new samples with the pigments that I picked up today. This means that we will have a new color range. I'm sure we're gonna announce that on social media, on Instagram and our website. All right, it was a pretty long day. I think that's all we can do for the day. It's a big win because our basins look amazing. We've cast new samples. Tomorrow we keep going with the sample, just run out of molds, so we can do 9 colors a day. I don't think we'll be running as many colors as before, but we'll see how it goes. I still need to figure out that shutter door, so maybe tomorrow morning I'll start with that. Make sure it's finished, which will allow enough time for the samples to cure properly. I just need to cover them with a plastic sheet, and then there's more casting. Happy Friday. We are gonna continue doing lists because this is what I do. It's Friday, so the first thing on the list is to fix the roller shutter. After that, we need to grind and polish the basins that we've already made. We have a small side quest that does involve welding, because a day in the workshop without welding is a waste. We do need to continue casting samples, a few more basins. I do need to start work on formwork for a few panels. We may have time to cast them today, but it might be for Monday. And then I've opened the boxes with our 3D printers. They have not survived the trip from the UK. It's amazing what 2,000 miles can do to a machine that is supposed to be packed better than we did. So anyway, I might roll a clip of the state they're in right now. This is likely gonna be a whole day of me trying to fix them, which is gonna be interesting to watch. Portion of the workshop where we have the roller shutter, but it's a really nice space, about 20 square meters, that I'm planning to use for polishing and welding, because it's separated from the main workshop. Now, excuse the mess. Some of it is from the previous tenant. Some of it is rubbish from us moving in. I will get a skip and make sure everything is cleared out. Now, the issue with the shutter is that the base of it is not a straight line anymore. It's been bent. So my plan is to put an angle line at the bottom, and a flat bar, so an angle line on this side and a flat bar on the other side to straighten it, which will also allow me to put a lock on it. Right, so I've managed to put the bar as planned at the bottom of the shutter, but as always, there's more than one issue. So the bars on each side did fix the bow at the bottom, but I had a closer look and it seems like none of the partitions of the shutter have guiding wheels on the side. And because the channel is wider, they basically bend onto each other. And it's really hard to, it's a lot easier now, but it's still hard to open the shutter on my own. So I either need to get guide wheels for all partitions on both sides, or I need to fix the first 6 partitions to each other. But I need to talk to my landlord first before I can do that, so we'll just leave it for another time. But so far this is good. Later I'll make a lock for that in the middle and it will be nice and secure. And just like that, all of the basins are now polished, ground, and I've applied a coat of pre-sealer. You maybe notice right before I grind each basin, I soften up the edge first. I found that minimizes the chance of chips during the grinding, and then I finish it again with a polishing pad. Before I apply the pre-sealer, I make sure all the sinks are nice and clean. As you saw, I only use gloves to touch the bases before they're sealed, just because the oils in your skin, it might stain the concrete, and also if my hands are dirty, I will also stain the concrete. The pre-sealer is designed to seep into the concrete, and in order not to allow a buildup of the pre-sealer on top of the concrete, I apply it with a cloth. I found that it's the best way. With a roller, you tend to leave a layer on top of the basin, and I'd rather not. The top coat sealer is for that. So yeah, that's it. It all looks great. And now it is time for the side quest. Over here I have a trolley I made a while back and a manual scissor lift. I want to combine them so that I have a portable lifting trolley contraption thing. I've done this before and it was a dedicated trolley. With this one, I'd love it to be modular so that I can take this off and use the trolley as it is, and whenever I need to lift or lower something, I just put the attachment onto the trolley and we just go. takes some time. Now, in order to find out what exactly I need to do, I need to figure out how much higher the trolley needs to be. Ideally, I want the trolley, once the scissor lift is fully extended, I want it to be slightly higher than the casting bench so that I can easily push something off. And if I'm loading something, I can just lower it slightly and then take things off of the casting benches. So let's measure. So it seems like the ideal height. So I'm missing 29 centimeters. I'm 29 centimeters short. I will go along the length of the casting benches and check everywhere, and then we'll jump onto drawing. Right, so I did some prototyping in my head, and I think I found a solution. Let me show you. Now, I like to keep things simple. We have the trolley, we have the scissor lift. In order to achieve what I want to do, so that fully extended, the scissor lift will be higher than the highest point on the casting benches, I need to add 31 centimeters. So this frame needs to be in total 310 millimeters so that I can safely offload and load from the benches. Now, once done, it should look something like this. Just a metal frame. I haven't decided yet whether the scissor lift would be attached to it already. It might be easier, but it's more about like the way it will be mounted onto the trolley, because it needs to be safe, and the main issue is load bearing. I want to use angle line to wrap around the corners of the trolley, which would give me stability. But if my first idea was to weld support brackets underneath the trolley, but then the trolley will be only as strong as my welds on those brackets. So that is why I think it's safer if I put the brackets on top of the trolley, so that the load can be transferred and taken by the whole frame and the wheels. The trolley's capacity is about 500 kilograms, and the only limitation are the wheels, because they are rated at 500 kilograms. So I think we have a good plan, and we just start. It's alive! There it is, the new lifting trolley is done. As promised, it is modular. I've decided to attach the scissor lift to the frame, so you can easily take it off, and you have the trolley as a separate piece. It's not directional, so it fits anyway. I've made sure to overweld it. I'm a classic overwelder. just because I know myself and I will push it beyond its limits. Now let's go and see if we can figure out the lock for the shutter. Now when I added the bars, the door became heavier, so it has a new feature. It closes on its own.
Here's what I came up with. I've welded a bolt onto the floor, luckily that is steel, and I made this bolt with a spacer that just slides through a hole. I did drill that earlier. You tighten the bolt as far as it would go, and boom, that's it.
Door secured. I just realized it's Friday the 13th and I have no black paint, so I had to use white. And the second cast in the new workshop is completed. I did cast 3 colors. I wanted to try a darker gray, the new brown that we got, and the ochre color. I was gonna continue with the samples, but I'd rather see what the new pigments can do. It's only fair to get used to the new pigments, see what they look like once they cure, so that I know like the intensity, and then we'll figure out new formulas for the new colors. So let's see what we still need to do on the to-do list. On a side note, off camera, I finished the fence guide. Now it is nice and level with the rest of the table. I cut, milled everything by hand, and it looks amazing. Really happy with it. I also spent a little bit more time refining, fine-tuning some of the design on this, but all in all, it's a great successful Friday. The shutter is done, kinda done. I still need to fix the issue with lifting it with those sections, how to attach them, how to fix them together. Grinding, polishing, and sealing the basins is done. The side quest, yes, done. I did cast 3 new samples, so that is also done. Cast basins, yes. What left is the formwork I need to do. I need to make a sample form first so I can cast it, finish it, and show it to the client. I was just about to start work on the formwork, but I got distracted because I want to make a cross-cutting fence. So I made the list, then I started organizing and cleaning up more. And that's a good thing because the client called and there's going to be a delay with that project because the architect decided to change the design. So it's good that I didn't start on the formwork. Next week we are starting on a project for converting 2 balconies in a bathroom renovation. That's going to be done in stages. And we got opening, we got casting. It's going to be a busy week. Hope you enjoyed the video this week. I know it was a bit longer, but it was a longer week and I listened to your feedback and I'm explaining more and I'm showing more. Next week is going to be a busy one, so stay tuned and I'll see you